Thank you, Devin. And it's always important to look after your physical health, but also your mental health. And that's why Nurse Christina is joining us this morning to talk to us a little bit about mental illness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry I'm a little late on this. I was supposed to talk about it in May, which was Mental Health Awareness Month, and had my own family crisis. So I apologize, but we're getting to it now.
Exactly. We're getting to it, which is important to cover no matter what month it is.
It is, because 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness, and 1 in 20 adults will experience a serious mental health crisis in each year.
So it's incredibly common.
It is, and it's been around for, really forever. They have from 6,500 BC, they have cave drawings of stuff. And in Mesopotamia and Egypt in the 1900 BC, they described women suffering from where their uterus would move to other parts of their body, hence came the term hysteria. So they thought that when something would happen or women were infertile, it was because the uterus attached itself to the liver or the stomach, and so they were hysteric.
Thank goodness we've made a little progress when it comes to medicine in the body.
Yes.
But, all right, so let's start at the beginning. Can you give us a little context on mental illness? It looks like you just gave us a little background right there.
Right.
So if we can move into what if you are unaware, you suffer from mental illness, how can you become aware of it?
Right, absolutely. So that's really the key. No, so there's something called I knew I was going to butcher this one. I'm just not going to get it. I'm sorry. And anyway, it's something that occurs where you're not aware of mental illness. So it comes from a Greek word, agnosia. That's it. Agnosia.
We didn't get some Greek experts in here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not being aware of any physical or mental illness. And the problem is, so we were talking about ticks or mosquito bites. So if I get a mosquito bite, I know that if I itch and I look down, I'm going to see a bump. So people who have mental illness and agnosia, whatever, then they can't tell. So that makes it difficult to diagnose because they're unaware that they just don't see the changes. They don't see the changes in their personality. They don't see the changes in their, in their surroundings.
Right. It's sometimes difficult to, be sort of introspective of yourself that, especially if it's small incremental changes as well.
Exactly. Right.
So over time, you might be a whole different person a year down the road, but day by day, you might not see that difference.
Right. Yeah. That is absolutely correct. So identifying is key.
Well, there you go. So what are there common types of issues for people who might be struggling with mental illness?
There are. So, we talk a lot about the depression, but there's other things. There's anxiety disorder. There's ADHD that we've talked about. So that's having trouble staying focused, listening, staying on task. Bipolar, that's going from one dramatic mood to another. Their energy can change too. So they can become really depressed or be really excited. Borderline personality disorders. So that's just really unstable emotions. That one is just really kind of a dysregulation of your emotions. Then there's depression, dissociative disorder, and that's usually associated with some trauma and memory, emotional issues. Eating disorders like bulimia and anorexia, obsessive compulsive disorders, intrusive thoughts, like you just can't stop doing something, or people who are perfectionists could be having this kind of issue. Then there's good old post-traumatic stress disorder. We see that a lot with our veterans. Psychosis is just having disruptive thoughts. Schizophrenia, so involves hallucinations or delusions. It's a type of mood disorder. So there's lots of different things that could impact your mental illness. There's, of course, tons more, but that's just, they wouldn't have a whole book on it if there weren't a lot of different types.
There's a lot to be aware of when it comes to what's going on between your ears.
Absolutely. Yep,
so
there are.
Let's talk about treatment. What sort of treatments are available here?
Right. So they usually do medication management, cognitive behavioral therapy. The big key is that these things really do work. Studies have shown that symptoms, it can reduce your symptoms. It can improve your quality of life by going and getting treatment. Decrease risk of crisis. It can actually even improve your physical physical health. So if your mental health is in shape, it can improve your physical health.
That makes sense.
Long-term resilience, it actually can provide lifelong, these different therapies can provide lifelong resilience, so you're able to manage those better by remembering different things. Social and economical benefits. People will be able to get up and go to work. I know the military is really trying to change their thought processes on mental illness. I know people who were in the military were afraid to get on antidepressants or to discuss or even bring up if they were having any kind of mental health thing because they thought they would get kicked out of the military. However, that is not the case. Actually, they have shown that people who, people like you and I who experience things like I had last month, a whole bunch of stuff going on, if we seek treatment during those times where we're having those issues, we're actually better. We can go to work and function. We can take care of our families. We can get around and do things. And so they're showing that getting that help, getting that mental health counseling, getting that medication can actually make you more successful.
Oh,
So-
it's nice to see that, being proactive and doing something as
Right.
opposed to just sitting and stewing.
Right.
It's nice to being able to get out there, talk about it, find the treatment that's right for you, and then move through it.
Absolutely, and sometimes being physical, like you said, getting out, exercising, eating healthy, those things too can help with your mental health. And if you or anyone you know is in crisis, don't be afraid, one, to ask if they're having a crisis, ask if they're suicidal, get them the help, contact clergy, contact 988, the crisis line, contact their providers, even their healthcare providers.
Well,
But
there
get
you
the
go.
help. There's lots of things out there.
Yes, there are. Well, thank you this morning for talking about this very important topic. I'm glad we were able to do this and look forward to next week. But we're going to have what's trending for you right after this commercial break.